So good morning, everyone. Welcome to this Workforce Wednesday webinar. My name is Kirsten Bayer, and I'm with the Illinois Center for Specialized Professional Support at Illinois State University. I sit as support staff on the WIOA Professional Development Committee, which has representation from all four core partners, as well as local representation too. And a part of that committee's logistical deliverables is to put on our Workforce Wednesday webinar series. So welcome all. Thank you for joining us. A lot of you are probably familiar with this series. I was just telling our presenter today, we've been doing this since 2017. So even prior to the pandemic, we were doing Workforce Wednesday webinars, which is so crazy. We are excited to have you join us this morning to talk about empowering job seekers in the age of AI. This is an awesome presentation to have coming right off of our Illinois Workforce Summit that we just had last week. Our keynote speaker actually spoke about AI and how relevant it is to the workforce now. And so we're excited to bring Laisha, excuse me, Daniel,
Yes.
um, to join us and speak this morning regarding that topic. A couple of housekeeping things before we get started, as people are still kind of joining us. We are on the Zoom webinar platform and not Zoom meeting. And really, what that means for you as an attendee is that you do not have the capability to unmute yourself or turn on your microphone. So if you don't see your microphone or camera button on your Zoom toolbar, that is intended. Do not fret. You will have the possibility to participate fully. We have some reflection questions for you that we want you to participate in throughout the presentation. And you can feel free to reflect and type any comments or questions in either the chat or the Q&A during the webinar. And will be facilitating those to the presenter. And then at the end of the webinar, we will have time for Q&A. And when we have that, we will have you raise your hand to either open the microphone to ask a question. I will give you your microphone capability back, or you can type in the chat and the Q&A and we will facilitate them that way as well. We do have closed captioning on today for accessibility purposes or note-taking purposes. So we welcome you to have that turned on. You can locate that on your Zoom toolbar. And this webinar is being recorded, and the presentation and the webinar recording will be hosted on our Illinois Workforce Academy website, as well as Illinois WorkNet's website following today's session. I will put that website URL in the chat momentarily. If you would like to bookmark it, you can find all of our Workforce Wednesday webinars there. And then we will start off with just a couple of standard polls that we do. This is a part of our WIOA Professional Development Committee's analytics that we collect. And so our first poll that we would like to know is just where is your local area? And then which partner do you represent? So I'm going to go ahead and launch those now. You should be able to scroll and answer both of them. And while you're answering those, I'm going to talk about our follow-up survey. So following today's webinar, you will receive an automated email from Zoom, which will have not only the URL to where you can find the recording from today that I was just talking about, but also a follow-up survey link. And I would greatly appreciate it if you take a couple minutes out of your day to take that follow-up survey regarding today's presentation or any future Workforce Wednesday webinar topics that you would like our committee to plan for the system. The survey is only a couple questions. I believe it's 5 now, so we've shortened it for you all, and we would appreciate your participation in that. Give everyone a couple more seconds to answer this poll, or polls, excuse me. All right. I'm going to end that and just debrief really quickly so we can know who we all are today or a little bit about ourselves. We have quite a few people from Chicago and Northern and Central Illinois, and then sprinkled a couple people Southern and 3 people that are actually statewide. So welcome. Thank you for joining us. And then we have quite a few Title One partners with us today. People from local LWIAs or DCO Title One partners. And then we have Title II, Adult Education and Literacy, quite a few people from that audience as well. Quite a few people from Title III, IDES, and a couple people sprinkled from Rehabilitation Services or other WIO partners and stakeholders. So thank you all for participating in that beginning poll and joining us this morning. I appreciate it. And I will hand it off to our presenter, Alicia McDaniel, to start her presentation.
Thank you, Kirsten, for the warm welcome. And good morning, everyone. And thank you so much for joining me today. Again, my name is Alicia McDaniel, and I'm super excited for this conversation because AI is no longer something that we're preparing for in the future. It's already here. And it's actively shaping how people search for jobs, how employers hire their talent, and most importantly, how careers are evolving. So I want you to think about today's session as not turning workforce professionals into technology experts, because that's not what we are. It's really about helping us better understand the changing workforce landscape so that we're able to confidently support job seekers and, most importantly, the communities that we serve. Throughout today's conversation, we're going to explore some practical tools. We'll have a look at some real workforce implications. And most importantly, I'm going to give you guys some actionable strategies that organizations can begin implementing immediately. I know when I send out a webinar, particularly, I want to know what can I take from a webinar that I can implement today. And so before we end today's webinar, I'm definitely going to give you some actionable strategies again that you can start implementing immediately. And most importantly, we're going to talk about how we ensure technology expands opportunity instead of creating additional barriers. So again, thank you all for being here with me this morning. Let's go ahead and jump in. So a little bit about me. As we get started, I want to introduce myself. So my background is rooted in workforce development. I've had the opportunity to do some career coaching, recruiting, professional development, and leadership training as well. Over the years, I work very closely with individuals that are navigating career transitions, or maybe it's job insecurity, perhaps it's been workforce reentry and professional growth. And one thing that I've consistently learned, job seekers, they don't just need information, they need confidence. And so many individuals, they already possess valuable experience and skills, but they may struggle with how to communicate their value professionally or even navigate digital hiring systems. And so that's where workforce professionals like you and I become incredibly important because we serve as a bridge between uncertainty and opportunity. Recently, I was working with someone who was highly qualified, but she was intimidated deeply by the online hiring systems. And honestly, that experience reinforced for me why this conversation matters so much. The workforce is changing quickly, and you'll hear me reiterate that several times throughout today's webinar. And many people just feel like they're trying to keep up real time. And so my goal today is really about empowerment. How do we as workforce professionals, how do we help people feel more equipped so that we're able to guide job seekers through this evolving landscape? The future of work is indeed changing. So I want you guys to ground yourselves in the reality of what's really happening in today's workforce. Yes, we know that the workplace is evolving rapidly. AI is influencing how resumes are being screened, how employers are identifying their talent, how interviews are being scheduled, and even how candidate skills are being evaluated. It's not uncommon for, and especially in today's environment, where employers are integrating AI into their hiring process. And they do this because it allows them to review a large number of applicants and to do it efficiently. And so while organizations, they look at it as efficiency, but job seekers, their experience is very different. And so for a lot of job seekers, these systems can feel invisible. And oftentimes they're confused and they're intimidated. And so the challenge is that many job seekers, they don't even realize that these systems exist. Someone can absolutely be qualified for a role, but they can still struggle to gain visibility because they just don't understand how these modern hiring systems work. And so that's why, as workforce professionals, we have a very important role right now. When people are navigating a workforce environment that blends technology with human decision making, we want to make sure that we can help them navigate seamlessly. Why this conversation matters. So, there are several realities that are happening simultaneously that make this conversation incredibly important. So, first and foremost, you have technology that is evolving very quickly. Secondly, you have digital literacy that varies significantly from community to community. And third, you have job seekers that already feel overwhelmed before they even submit an application. So even before they hit the submit button, they already feel overwhelmed. And so I want you guys to just think about individuals who already lack confidence when it comes to using technology. Or maybe they have limited internet access. For some, they're relying solely on their smartphone. Maybe you have someone that's returning to the workforce because it's been several years. Or maybe they're transitioning industries entirely. So they want to do something different. For many people, job searching today fundamentally is different than what it was 5, even 10 years ago. And it's important for us to recognize that in this conversation, it's not just about technology, but it's also about the emotional experience too. It's really about access. It's about ensuring people don't feel left behind in a rapidly changing economy. So I want you guys to pause for a moment and I want you to really think about the job seekers that we serve. How prepared are they to navigate AI-driven hiring systems? Do you think they're comfortable using digital tools? Do they understand ATS, applicant tracking systems? Would
We
they know how to use AI responsibly? Keyword responsibly to strengthen their job search? Honestly, workforce professionals are still learning the systems themselves. So if this feels new or overwhelming, that's okay. The goal isn't about perfection, it's really about progress. And the more that we understand the systems, the more effectively that we're able to support others.
we did have a couple people participate in the chat during that reflection. Would you like me to read their answers?
Absolutely, please.
So Abigail Cox says that she does not feel like they are prepared. Jackie Rogers says they're not prepared at all. Abigail Cox says a lot of people in the workforce are afraid of AI.
Mm.
And Legina says a small number of them she feels like would be prepared.
And I will echo and say that all of those are valid sentiments. I would agree with each and every comment that was made. Thank you for sharing, Kirsten. So today we're going to move from awareness to action. So we'll begin by discussing some of the workforce realities here in Illinois, and we're going to talk about the digital divide that still exists across many communities. Then we'll explore how AI is reshaping hiring systems. From there, we'll discuss, oops, one second. From there, we're going to discuss some practical AI tools that workforce professionals and job seekers can use responsibly. I'm going to emphasize responsibly, and you'll see why a little bit later. But then we're also going to spend some time discussing some coaching strategies, some implementation ideas. We'll talk about some workforce programming and then some future workforce skills. My goal for this session, I want it to feel practical. Oops. Okay, there we go. I want this session to feel practical, and I want you guys to leave with ideas that can actually be applied within your organizations and your programs. The Illinois Workforce Snapshot. These numbers tell a very important story. So Illinois currently has approximately 6.2 million workers in its labor force. And at the same time, there are roughly 244,000 open jobs statewide. And then there's also approximately 290,000 Illinois residents that are actively seeking employment. Now, these numbers are important because they highlight a critical reality. The issue isn't simply a lack of jobs. Sometimes, and many times, the challenge is access or alignment, being prepared, digital literacy, and confidence navigating these hiring systems. What we do know is that there are opportunities available, but oftentimes individuals still struggle to effectively connect with those opportunities. And that's where workforce organizations, that's where we become incredibly important. The opportunity gap. When we discuss workforce barriers today, we're no longer talking about education and workforce experience. We're also talking about technology access, digital literacy, understanding those online hiring systems, and the confidence to navigate what's increasingly becoming more automated. So these automated processes. Honestly, sometimes people abandon these opportunities because the process itself just feels intimidating. I want you to imagine applying for a job online. You've uploaded your resume, you've answered some automated screening questions, maybe you've had to navigate multiple portals, and then you never hear anything back. That experience can feel so discouraging, especially for individuals who are already navigating career transitions or employment instability. So the opportunity gap today, it's technical, but it's also emotional too. The digital divide. We can't discuss AI without discussing access. Approximately 2.9 million Illinois residents lack home broadband access. That represents roughly 28% of households. Now, think about what that means in today's workforce. Some people are completing applications strictly from a smartphone. You have some that are sharing devices with family members. Some still are relying on public libraries or even workforce centers for internet access. Yet, we have hiring systems that increasingly assume people have seamless digital access. So when we talk about workforce development today, digital access is workforce access. And this is why workforce organizations continue to play such a critical role in bridging those gaps. Our role as workforce leaders. This is why our roles matter so much. As workforce professionals, we're not simply helping people apply for jobs. We're helping them to navigate systems. We're helping them to build confidence. You're helping people to understand technology-driven hiring environments. You're translating those opportunities into something that's accessible. In many ways, as workforce professionals, we're becoming digital navigators in addition to being career coaches. The work you do has become even more important in the AI era. AI is reshaping hiring. Now let's talk specifically about how AI is influencing modern hiring. Many employers use AI before a human recruiter ever reviews an application. That includes screening a resume, candidate ranking, interview scheduling, and applicant tracking systems. And for those of you unfamiliar with an applicant tracking system, it's designed to help employers manage large numbers of applications efficiently. Oftentimes, they use these systems when they're looking for keywords or maybe job titles, sometimes certifications, it could be technical skills, but overall, they're looking for experience alignment. So if you had a job description and it emphasized, let's just say, project coordination or customer service or even data analysis, the system may prioritize resumes that contain those particular phrases. This is why resume optimization matters much more today than it did years ago. And this is also why workforce professionals, why we need to understand these systems so that we're able to better guide job seekers through them. The AI hiring funnel. I really like this visual because it clearly demonstrates what modern hiring often looks like. So the first stage is the application stage. This is where you have candidates submit their resumes, they're completing applications online, and they're answering screening questions. Then you have the AI screening, which is the next stage. This is where technology is scanning resume and it's looking for keywords, relevant skills, formatting, certifications, and most importantly, it's determining if the job seeker is aligned with the position. Some systems, they even rank candidates based on how closely a candidate's experience matches a job description. Then you have the recruiter review. And so at this stage, recruiters, they're often looking for relevant experience, communication clarity, measurable accomplishments, consistency, and professionalism. You have the interview stage, and this is where employers, now they're getting involved and they're evaluating communication skills. They're looking at confidence, they're looking at adaptability, professionalism, and just the overall fit. And then finally, you have the offer stage. What I want you guys to recognize here is that many candidates, they never make it past these early stages because they don't understand how these systems work. This is what AI literacy means. The job search, then versus now. As I mentioned earlier, job searching today fundamentally is different than it did 10 years ago. Back then, traditional job searching was much more human first. People often walked into a business, they were able to submit their resumes directly, they relied heavily on networking, and they were able to communicate directly with the hiring manager. That was then. Today's modern hiring, it's often a system that's first. Applications are submitted online. Then you have resumes that are screened digitally. Then algorithms may rank candidates before a recruiter even sees them. Because of this shift, job seekers, they now need both traditional career readiness skills, but they also need digital navigation skills too. Technology has essentially become the gatekeeper before people. That doesn't mean that human connection doesn't matter anymore, because it does. Job seekers need support as they navigate these technology driven systems. The job seeker confidence gap. One of the biggest challenges that I see, it's confidence. It's the gap in confidence. Many job seekers simply don't understand how AI systems influence hiring decisions. And you can't successfully navigate a system that you don't understand. You have people that assume they aren't qualified. You have people that assume they're being ignored. Or you have people that assume that the employer simply isn't interested, when in reality, their resume may not have even been optimized for a modern hiring system. So awareness really does matter. One of the most powerful things that we can do as workforce professionals is we can help individuals better understand how these systems function. The AI career empowerment model. If you remember one slide from today, let it be this one. This framework represents what I believe workforce organizations should focus on as we prepare job seekers for the future of work. At the center of this model is the AI-enabled career success. And surrounding you have four key pillars. The first pillar is access. So, do individuals have access to internet, to devices, to digital tools, to workforce resources? The second pillar is literacy. Do job seekers understand AI systems, online hiring platforms, applicant tracking systems, digital workforce expectations? The third pillar is application. Can individuals actually use AI tools responsibly? There's that word responsibly. I told you I was going to use it several times throughout this morning. Are they able to optimize resumes? Can they practice interviews? Are they able to explore careers? Are they able to strengthen their professional communication? And then finally, you have opportunity. Can these tools actually help connect people to meaningful employment, career mobility, and long-term growth? Technology alone doesn't create the opportunity. It's guided access that creates the opportunity. And workforce organizations, we're uniquely positioned to make that happen. I have another reflection question for you guys. I want you to think about your own communities for a moment. What technology barriers consistently show up for job seekers? Is it internet access? Is it digital literacy? Maybe it's confidence. Is it awareness? Is it lack of exposure? As you think about those barriers, I also want you to think about where workforce organizations may already be helping bridge those gaps. Sometimes the work that you guys are already doing is more impactful than you realize. So I'll give it a pause and I'll let you guys drop your feedback in the chat. And then, Kirsten, if you want to come off mute and share what some of those responses are, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have someone that says digital literacy and access to tech, and that is from Nancy. And then Carter says access and digital literacy. Beatrice says digital literacy and adapting to new technology. I'm sensing a theme. Lucas says digital literacy. Jackie says lack of access to technology and reliance on smartphones. Stephanie says internet access and digital literacy. And Legina says no internet access, digital literacy, and access to computers so they can use smartphones. And then Rennie, lots of participation, says awareness of how systems work. Kavan says no internet access. Abigail says sometimes smartphones don't work well with job application sites, which is very true. They're not always intuitive and adaptable to a smartphone. And then Daniel says digital literacy and access to learning resources to build up those skills. Suzanne says safety measures regarding technology use. That's a good one, Suzanne. And then Keonte, I'm sorry if I butcher your name, says awareness of how things work. And Ian says digital literacy specifically within the older demographic.
Okay. So some of the themes are resounding: the lack of access, digital literacy, the use of smartphones. Thank you guys for sharing. AI as a career support tool. I want to shift the conversation a little bit. Because while AI can absolutely create challenges, it can also become a powerful support tool when it's used responsibly. Again, responsibly. And this is so important. It's a mindset shift for workforce professionals. So instead of viewing AI as only something people should fear, we can also help job seekers learn how to use it, but use it strategically. One of the biggest struggles that job seekers face is figuring out how to articulate their experience professionally, especially individuals who are transitioning careers, re-entering the workforce, or applying outside of an industry that they've previously worked in. AI tools can help us strengthen our wording, identify transferable skills, and improve communication clarity. So for example, someone may say, I answered phones and I schedule meetings. But AI can elevate that into, I manage administrative communication and coordinated scheduling operations in a fast-paced environment. So the experience didn't change. What happened was the communication improved. AI is also great at supporting interview preparation. Many job seekers struggle because they simply haven't practiced, and we know that practice makes perfect. So AI tools can generate mock interview questions, behavioral interview examples, because some interviews today are behavioral, role-specific questions, sample responses. This helps to reduce interview anxiety and build confidence. AI is also good for supporting career exploration. Many people know they want to change, but they don't know what direction they want to pursue. And so AI tools can help individuals to explore industries, identify what their transferable skills are, discover some emerging careers, understand what certifications look like, and learn about salary ranges, because certainly we don't want to leave any money on the table. And finally, AI can support professional communication, things like follow-up emails, networking messages, professional tone, and written communication confidence. Again, the goal isn't to replace workforce professionals. It's to enhance support systems for job seekers. Here's some examples of some AI tools. One thing I want to emphasize before I even discuss the tools that you're looking at on the screen. You don't need to be a technology expert to begin introducing AI concepts to job seekers. Many of these tools are actually very user-friendly. The first tool is ChatGPT, which many of you may be familiar with. ChatGPT is one of the most recognized AI tools available today. It works conversationally. It's almost like you're texting a coach or an assistant. And so job seekers, they can use chat to improve their resume, to practice an interview, write a cover letter, if they want to brainstorm some career paths, or even if they're looking to strengthen their professional communication. The quality, and listen to me when I say this, the quality of the response is going to heavily depend on the quality of the prompt. AI responds to direction, okay? Next, you have LinkedIn AI tools. So LinkedIn now integrates AI into profile optimization, summaries, headlines, job matching. And this is important because LinkedIn continues to be one of the strongest professional networking platforms that's available today. Many recruiters actively look for candidates on LinkedIn. Then you have Grammarly AI. Many people know Grammarly for grammar correction, but it also supports tone improvement, sentence clarity, professional communication, and email writing. This can be especially useful for individuals who feel insecure about writing professionally. Google Gemini is Google's AI platform. It functions very similar to ChatGPT, but it integrates heavily with Google's tools and their search capabilities. Job seekers can use Gemini for career research, skill exploration, resume support, and even learning new concepts. And then finally, you have Perplexity AI. Perplexity is an AI-powered research tool. And what makes it unique is that it often provides source answer with real-time information. And this can help job seekers research industries. They're able to compare career pathways, identify workforce trends, and even explore educational opportunities. Again, the goal isn't to overwhelm people with tools. We want to introduce what's practical, and accessible resources that help people build confidence. We want them to build confidence and opportunity. Resume support. Now I want to show you what this can actually look like in practice. As you can see on the screen, this prompt is an example of how AI can elevate resume language. And this is important because many people, again, they already have valuable experience. They just struggle with how to articulate it professionally. So for example, someone may have many years of customer service, leadership, scheduling, communication, or even operation experience, but they don't describe it in a way that would sell their value. Oftentimes, job seekers undersell their value. So AI tools can help strengthen the wording, the clarity, transferable skills, and professionalism. And again, as workforce professionals, we still play a critical role here because we help ensure that resumes remain authentic. Yes, authenticity is key, accurate, and we want to make sure that it's actually aligned, the resume is aligned with their actual experience. AI should support communication. It should not fabricate the experience. I'll say that again. AI should support communication. It should not fabricate the experience. Interview preparation. Now let's transition into interview preparation because this is another area where AI can become incredibly valuable. Many job seekers struggle with interviews not because they lack qualifications. They simply lack practice. Interviews, as many of us know, they create anxiety. People worry about saying the wrong thing. They freeze under pressure. They worry about not sounding professional enough or not knowing how to answer behavioral questions. AI tools can help reduce some of that anxiety by simply allowing individuals to practice before they have the real interview. For example, someone could ask AI to generate interview questions for a customer service role, create mock behavioral interview questions, help structure STAR method responses, or provide feedback on some of my sample answers. This is especially valuable for individuals who may not have access to traditional interview coaching. And again, workforce professionals, we still play a very important role here. Because what AI can do is it can help generate those practice questions, but as workforce professionals, we help individuals to strengthen their confidence, their authenticity, and their communication. Confidence grows through preparation. And often, preparation reduces fear. When you're prepared, you're less nervous, you're less anxious. Career exploration. One of the most powerful uses of AI is career exploration. Many job seekers know they want change, but they don't always know what direction they want to pursue. And so AI tools can help people explore industries, certifications, transferable skills, and even different career pathways. So for example, someone working in retail, they may not realize that they already have a skill set that's relevant to operations, or even customer service, or maybe scheduling, or maybe it's leadership, or even sales support. So AI tools can help individuals identify connections between their current experience and possibly an emerging opportunity. AI can also help people research industries. So for example, what industries are growing in Illinois? What certifications are needed for logistics? What healthcare careers require short-term training? What technology skills are employers requesting most often? This allows career exploration to become more interactive and, most importantly, less intimidating. This is especially important for individuals who feel stuck, and oftentimes they're just simply uncertain about their future. AI can help expand awareness of possibilities. So, there is responsible AI use. So, as workforce professionals, we have a responsibility to teach ethical and responsible AI use. The first principle is verifying outputs. AI is powerful, but let me tell you, it is not perfect. And sometimes it could be inaccurate. Maybe it's incomplete. It can be outdated, or it simply can be overly generalized. So job seekers, they always should review information carefully to ensure that it actually aligns with their experience and their goals. The second principle is maintaining authenticity. AI should never erase someone's authentic voice. A resume or a cover letter should still reflect the individual's real experiences, their personality, and their strengths. And the third principle is understanding that AI is a support tool. It's not a replacement. So AI can support communication. It can support brainstorming, editing, preparation, and research. But it can't replace human judgment. AI does not replace emotional intelligence. AI does not replace professionalism. It doesn't replace relationship building. Authenticity still matters. And employers are still hiring people. They're not just hiring resumes. Now let's look at some skills that are important for the AI economy. So even in a technology-driven workforce, human skills remain incredibly valuable. So let's briefly walk through each one. And we're going to start at the top, communication, the 12 o'clock hour. So communication continues to be one of the most important workforce skills. Employers want individuals who can communicate clearly, collaborate effectively, and engage professionally. Critical thinking is also increasingly important. As AI becomes more integrated into workplaces, employers still need to analyze information. They still need to make decisions and solve problems and evaluate situations thoughtfully. Collaboration matters because modern workplaces are increasingly team oriented. So people have to know how to work effectively with other people across departments, technologies, and environments. And problem solving remains essential because employers value individuals who can navigate challenges and, most importantly, people who can think proactively. Digital literacy is now foundational. So people have to have basic comfort using technology, digital platforms, online systems, and workplace software. And finally, you have adaptability. The workforce will continue to evolve. Employers value people who can learn, they're able to adjust, and they can remain flexible in changing environments. Employers want people who are agile and not rigid. So the future of work, it's both digital, but it's still deeply human. Human skills, they still matter. One of the biggest misconceptions about AI is that technology will completely replace human value. What we're actually seeing is that human skills are becoming even more important. Yes, technology changes tools, but technology does not eliminate empathy. Technology doesn't eliminate communication or leadership or relationship building or judgment, or again, it does not eliminate emotional intelligence. In many industries, employers are actively looking for people who can combine technical awareness with strong interpersonal skills. So yes, AI can automate certain tasks, but that human connection, it still remains essential. And that's what's important for job seekers to understand. Their humanity, it still matters. Yes, it still matters. I have another reflection question for you guys. I'd love for you to think about the employers and the industries in your own region. What skills are employers emphasizing most right now? Are they emphasizing communication, reliability? Is it adaptability, technical skills? Is it leadership? How might workforce organizations better prepare individuals for those expectations? And feel free to share your thoughts in the chat. These conversations are important. Workforce development is constantly evolving alongside employer needs. And then Kirsten, if there's any responses in the chat, if you want to share them, I'd love to hear them.
Absolutely. Ian says cross-functional skills. Suzanne says communication, adaptability, and teamwork.
Okay.
Nancy says critical thinking skills, not soft skills.
Okay. Okay. Let's keep going. The AI empowerment framework. This framework that you're looking at, it reinforces an important idea. And that idea is that technology alone, it isn't enough. Organizations, they have to think strategically about how job seekers support across multiple areas. Again, this framework focuses on four things: access, literacy, application, and opportunity. So access means that we're ensuring that individuals can actually reach technology and digital resources. Literacy means that we're helping people understand how digital systems and AI tools actually function. Application means helping individuals use those tools responsibly and practically. And then opportunity means connecting those skills to meaningful employment pathways. This framework really is about workforce empowerment. So helping individuals move from uncertainty towards confidence and career mobility. So the coaching model for workforce professionals. So this coaching model highlights the journey that workforce professionals often help individuals navigate. So that first stage, it's awareness. That first stage is awareness. This is where people begin understanding the AI system, the digital hiring tools, and workforce expectations. That second stage is access. Do individuals have access to the internet? Devices, digital tools, workforce support. The third stage is application. Can they practically apply what they're learning? Can they optimize a resume? A resume is not a one size fits all. In fact, it should be tailored. Can they practice interviews? Can they use professional communication tools? Are they able to navigate digital hiring systems? And then finally, you have advancement. Can these tools and resources help individuals achieve employment, career mobility? Has it increased their confidence? What about their long-term growth? Again, this simply isn't digital literacy. This is workforce empowerment. The job seeker journey. So this particular slide highlights the practical journey that many job seekers now experience. The first step is understanding those AI hiring systems. So people need basic awareness of how online hiring processes function. The second step is optimizing their resume. So this is going to include those optimized keywords, clarity, quantifiable results, so those measurable accomplishments, and professional formatting. We spoke about applicant tracking system. There's a statistic out there that says up to 70% of resumes are rejected by an applicant tracking system, and it can be for a multitude of reasons. Formatting is one of those reasons. So is their resume professionally formatted? The third step is learning how to use AI tools responsibly during the job search process. This could look like resume support, interview preparation, career research, and communication assistance. The fourth step, it's building both digital and human skills. So again, the future workforce, it requires both. And finally, preparing for interviews. So helping individuals communicate confidently, professionally, and authentically. The journey isn't about perfection. It's about helping people gradually build their confidence as they navigate these modern day hiring systems. So I came bearing gifts. As promised, I wanted to give you guys some ideas that possibly you can implement immediately. And so I want to discuss some practical ways that workforce organizations can begin integrating AI concepts into their programming. And so one idea is a resume lab. This could be structured workshops where participants learn how to strengthen their resume language or their identifying keywords. Maybe you're helping them to improve their formatting, or you're responsibly using those AI tools that we discussed for resume support. Another idea could be a digital literacy workshop. And so these sessions could focus on navigating online applications, understanding applicant tracking systems, creating a dynamic LinkedIn profile. Maybe it's using professional communication tools, or it could be simply basic AI awareness. You have interview simulation sessions. These are also extremely valuable. Organizations could create mock interview environments where participants can practice behavioral questions, confidence, communication, and professional presence. We know that when you look good, you feel good. And then finally, you have your AI career clinics. This could be interactive sessions where job seekers are exploring different industries, certifications, transferable skills, and career pathways, or maybe it's even labor market trends and they're using AI tools. The goal is to create a supportive learning environment where individuals feel empowered rather than intimidated by technology. We want to remove that barrier. So some key takeaways. So if I could summarize today's sessions in a few ideas, it would be these four. So number one, AI is already reshaping hiring. This isn't a future conversation because it's taking place right now. Second, job seekers, they need guidance. Many individuals are navigating systems that they don't even understand. Third, as workforce professionals, we play a critical role in helping to bridge those gaps. You help translate technology into something that's accessible and practical. And finally, technology has a potential to expand opportunity when you pair it with support, when you pair it with education, access, and most importantly, when you pair it with the human connection. This work really does matter because ultimately this conversation is about helping people feel prepared for the future of work rather than we don't want them fearful of it. And so I do have a final reflection. So as we prepare to close today's session, I want to leave you with one final reflection. I don't want today's conversation to end as inspiration only. I want it to become implementation. I want you to think about your organizations. What is one realistic strategy that you could begin implementing within the next 30 days to better support job seekers navigating these AI-driven hiring systems? Maybe it's the introduction of digital literacy workshops. Maybe you're adding resume support sessions. Maybe you're creating a LinkedIn training. It could be you're now discussing applicant tracking systems, or you're simply beginning conversations around AI awareness. Remember, small steps, they still create progress. And the work that you do has a power to help individuals feel more confident as they navigate an evolving workforce landscape. Thank you all so much for your time, your engagement, and the important work that you continue to do within your communities. I will now open the floor for questions and discussion. So if you have any questions, comments, please feel free to utilize the chat box to drop your questions and or your comments in the chat box.
Perfect. Thank you so much for this awesome presentation. We have Legina says, thank you for this information. And we'll give everyone a couple minutes to think of maybe any questions or comments that they might have for you. While we're doing that, just wanted to reiterate that this webinar was recorded and we will put the recording up on our Illinois Workforce Academy website as well as Illinois WorkNet. I will put that in the chat momentarily here. And then also just to reiterate that we do have a follow-up survey that we would love your participation in. The WEO Professional Development Committee does look at the follow-up survey results quarterly so that we can plan professional development that is really meeting the system where your needs are. And also so we can reflect on the past professional development that we've put out there. So we welcome your participation in that follow-up survey. Looks like Rena and Terry. Rena says, thank you very much. This was very informative. Terry says, excellent information and implementation ideas. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just lots of thanks coming through, Laisha.
Thank you.
Thank you for this information. It was a great presentation, Carter says. Let me go ahead and get that website for you. We have Cindy says, good information. We can only be as good as the information we have. And Sonia says, thank you.
You're welcome.
Website for everyone where you can find the recording if you'd like to send it to any colleagues. And then Laisha, I'll hand it off to you if you want to talk about the slide you have up.
Absolutely. So before I end today's webinar, I am sharing my contact information. So again, my email, my website, my LinkedIn, and my phone number. Again, I have enjoyed today's session with each and every one of you. Again, I hope that I have given you some tools that again you can start to implement into your own organizations immediately. I would love to stay connected. Please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. And of course, if you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to reach out. It's been a pleasure, you guys. Have an amazing rest of your day.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Leisha. We have lots of thank yous coming into the chat. No questions. Looks like your presentation answered all of them, which is awesome.
Good. Thank you.
All right. I will go ahead and close us out early today. No one ever complained about getting time back to their workday to answer emails or start their lunch early, maybe. So I will go ahead and close us out. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great rest of your Wednesday.